Avengers!
Captain America and the Avengers is one of my favorite arcade games. It's short, direct, campy, and super fun to play. It can even be a little hilarious at times, but I don't think they are really doing that on purpose. The game is a simple side-scrolling brawler with a few shoot-'em-up levels to change things up. But like most arcade games, the simple concept doesn't mean it's easy. In fact, this is another one of those arcade games that you're pretty lucky or really skilled to get far in without a huge pocket of change. While you can get some health refill from time to time, the quickest and most effective way is to drop another quarter in. Of course, this isn't an issue in the days of MAME, but the challenge is still there. Obviously, you control Captain America, but you also have Iron Man, the Vision, and Hawkeye to choose from. Each character controls basically the same with some minor changes to fit their powers, such as Iron Man shooting a projectile when you jump and press attack instead of performing a kick move like Hawkeye. But their punches are the same and they all shoot a projectile when you press both jump and attack at the exact same time. The bad guys are pretty standard. Some just punch, some shoot at you, and some have shields and punch. Where there are few odd ones that run and just kinda hug you, or there's this exploding bug robot thing. But things don't get more complicated in the flying stages either. In fact, they get simpler, with either things flying you or guys shooting at you. These stages are more cramped than your average side-scrolling shooter, but they are fun. Of course, there are bosses and mini-bosses, and these can be the real fun, especially like the Sentinel. But they all have their own charm, with varying attacks and powers to keep it interesting. And they all have this same laugh to prove how evil they are. It really just makes me laugh more than anything. There will be some guest appearances by other superheroes, but only two actually help you. Wasp will fly around and block attacks, and Quicksilver will bring you the very rare energy power-up to regain health. You'll get to fight some of the more classic bosses like the Sentinel, the Juggernaut, and of course our main villain, Red Skull. But some of the others you may not recognize unless you really read the comic. And I have absolutely no idea what is up with the mini-boss called Mech Taco. And if I do recall correctly, it's called that in all the versions. Speaking of all the versions, some of you probably remember the US version the most, and if you ever played the game, you remember the American patriotic voiceovers and the PSA screen at the beginning of the game. I mean, there's nothing wrong with it. The main game's character is Captain America, but it all sounds very propaganda-oriented. Besides, Red Skull is out to destroy the Earth, but I guess the rest of the world doesn't need my help, just America. Anyway, the game was also ported to the Genesis, Super Nintendo, Nintendo, Game Gear, and Game Boy. But really, I don't feel they are terribly worth mentioning. But the original game looks great, and it was real nice to see in 1991. It had better graphics than any console system. It's very vibrant and clean sprites, with some great effects like blurring and trails on some things. Seriously, this game is a blast to play, and while it will be hard to get the cab, you know how you can play it. And if nothing else, I do suggest playing one of the ports. They may not be as good as the original, but it is still a fun arcade game to have in your console collection. I'll see you next time.
You cannot beat me.